For this, you'll need a computer, CNC plasma cam, some 16 gauge material or thicker, welding helmet, work gloves, denim jeans and work boots, cotton shirt, and some safety glasses. Also, you're going to want a 180 meg, an extension cord, grinder, and C-clamp. Turn on the computer to start. Turn on the monitor. Once it's all loaded up, go ahead and log in on MFW. Place the material on the grid somewhere where it won't wobble around. It should be flat. As long as it does move, it'll be fine. The next thing you'll do is tack weld the material onto the grid. Make sure the tacks hold. These welds will also help prevent the material from moving or wobbling around while you're cutting it. One thing to keep in mind is this plasma cam is automated. It is an automated cutter, meaning if the material becomes dislodged, it won't know. It will continue to cut and do what you told it to do. This is very dangerous because it can cause damage to the material, damage to the machine, and damage to your person. These are the settings. Next, go ahead and launch Plasma Cam. And you'll see this screen. Switch on the plasma torch, which the switch is located in the back. You're going to see some blinking lights. Switch on that. Turn on the gas, which will cause one of the red lights to turn green. Also flow gas through the plasma torch. Let's let cut. Here you're going to see me breaking some lines. I use B. Select that line. Delete it. And I'm going to go ahead and use F1 to zoom in. Trim that line with T. And connect that entire piece by using K. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Remember to press K. You want one solid object. Lining everything up is very important. Making sure everything is one solid object is equally so. Take your time in the drawing phase, or else you're going to come up with something that you're not entirely proud of. If you rush this, it'll show. I use F6 to back out. And here's a list of all the things you use. Here's a quick shot of the semi-finished product. Here's a quick shot of the next stage. And here is the final rough product. I'm going to take my time to polish it so it looks like that. After some polishing and moving around and rotating, I'm going to go ahead and set it to scale. The important thing is to make sure that your grid spacing is 1 inch. And it'll wide up the grid spacings as you see. So I'm going to go ahead and move it to the nearest grid spacing, little grid dot. And I counted and it was too much. I didn't have enough material. So I use S to scale, and I'm going to bring it down to just below 7. And just below 7. Next, I'm going to create a copy of what I made. This is important because the next step is converting them into cut paths. Now, while you're converting, it's important to not do it on the original piece because it tends to kind of mess things up. That's why I brought it up to scale a bit, because it makes it even worse if it's a smaller thing. So you're going to use convert to cut paths or the key P, and you're just going to convert everything into a cut path. And as you see, that kind of messed my stuff up. So I'm going to take some time again to polish it up. And there you have it. They're all cut paths, and they're all good. So I'm going to go ahead and record a cut path, and you want to make sure that this is inside to out. Once I'm good with that, I'm going to find the material thickness. I believe it to be 16 gauge, so I go ahead and take one of the gauge meters and just toss it on the metal. It fits, so it is 16 gauge. So I set everything accordingly. Luckily for me, everything was already set to 16 gauge because I was working with the material previously. However, there is a chart that you can refer to along with numerous online sources. I'm going to go ahead and run a test cut to make sure that the torch head stays on the metal at all times. Typically, you run more than one test cut, but since this was a rush product, I'm only going to run one. The reason why this is very important is because the tip of the torch should remain on the plate at all times. If it doesn't, it's going to lead to some uglier looking cuts. And now it's cutting it all out. That giant circle. Oh, forgive me. Now it's cutting it all out. I suppose it made it lie me again. Now it's cutting it all out. So, after messing with the torch a little bit, bring it down, I can just go ahead and click auto cut control, and I cut it out. And there it is. It's a little dirty looking. It's not the best thing, but everything needs a love, right? So I take that out and knock out as many pieces as possible, and it's definitely going to need some time with a sander. As you see, the extension cord fell out, so make sure you unravel it right. Don't be afraid to really get in there. Trust me. More grinding is better than less. You want this to all look flat and flush. I use the belt sander to round off the edges of the outside material. Then I take some clear coat and I just give it a nice, even, thin coat of it. Now the clear coat, that's going to preserve that metal look of it. It's going to keep it how it is. However, I didn't like how it looked, so I gave it a nice little polish with a whiz wheel. I won't go into too much depth with this because it does get complicated. And after some love, there we go. Throw another coat of clear coat on there, you're good.